Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you another video. All right, so I canceled my doctor's appointment for tomorrow because I just don't want to go. I'd rather wait that out and put myself in a much better frame of mind before going. Since I've been dreading this, I ain't gonna fight it. However, everything else that I was complaining about in my last therapy session, I actually worked out. I came home after that complaining therapy session about not wanting to go to this and that and the third, and I proceeded to do my hundreds right after that. I came home and literally did them tired and felt better for it. Enjoyed a meal after that. And then Super Bowl Sunday, I was exhausted. When I say exhausted, I was flat. My body couldn't do much of anything. So I kept it simple and did my morning workout routine, and then slept. Did a meditation like around 11:30 in the morning. Did some meditation and my body went to sleep. Woke up for the game, watched the game, enjoyed every second of that. Even though the team I was rooting for did not get the victory, I wasn't overly invested, and I like being right too. And I told y'all that I thought that the Chiefs were going to win, so I was going to win either way because ultimately I like being right. So that was an amazing game. And what else, man? The next day, after that, I just, kind of enjoyed the rest of my night. The next day was yesterday, and I decided to do laundry, which means that I didn't leave the house yesterday again, because laundry took up most of my morning. After that, took another daytime nap. I've been sleeping a lot in the morning, in the afternoons these last 2 days, just trying to recover from all of this that I've been telling you how exhausted I've been feeling. And got up and did my hundreds again yesterday, you know what I mean? And proceeded to make a playlist last night, which I have yet to make a CD art for, but I thought the playlist was awesome. Meditated a lot more last night. All this is leading up to something, by the way. And then went to sleep and had a dream about Karen, my friend KT. And that dream was really telling, man. It was really telling. I had meditated quite a bit over the last couple of days because Valentine's Day is coming up. And you know how I think about KT and all this stuff, even though she's not in my life physically. We communicate on the phone, and I had some issues mentally about, just that distance and ultimately where we stand and all of that nonsense that I've been going through in the past, I should say, leading up to probably January, where I started to become a little more at peace about that conversation. But last night was a dream that was unbelievable. I basically found myself in my mother's old apartment in Hollywood, the same one I always show you guys. It was me, some singer who sings a song. I don't actually think the song exists in real life, but it was more or less a song about people not treating people right. Very strange stuff. And she was there with her baby. And then it was Karen there as well. Now I'm sitting in the living room, excuse me, in the living room, and I'm watching the Lakers or something like that. The lady with the singer and her baby were just kind of sitting in a corner somewhere. I don't know why they were sitting there. We didn't invite her there. We don't know her. Karen didn't invite her there. It was very strange stuff. And I'm sitting there watching the Lakers, and my mom is to the left of me, and it's a one single apartment. Like, it was no second room. It was just the living room and then the bathroom. And Karen ended up leaving, and I didn't know where she had went. And I'm like, where did Karen go? Like, where'd she go? And I go in the bathroom, and Karen is sitting in the bathtub with a one-piece swimming suit, like a bathing suit, a blue bathing suit. But the water's on, and she's running herself a bath in a bathing suit. And she has the phone in her ear. She's talking to somebody on the phone, and I'm like, where did you? I don't know why I proceeded to walk up to her and asked her something along the lines of, where did you go? And she said I like to take showers. And I was like, okay. Obviously she's taking a bath, but the word she used was shower. I'm like, okay. And then she proceeded to keep on talking on the phone, basically ignoring me from there. And I'm like, what the hell is this girl come over my house to use my bathtub, but not taking a real bath? She's taking a bath with a bathing suit on. And so I walk out of the room. I leave her to her piece, and I come in there, and I think I asked my mom, like, what is Karen doing? And she said, my mother said to me something along the lines of Karen needed a breather or something like that. Or Karen was obviously needing a breather or something like that. It was one of those words that spoke to her being either overwhelmed and out of breath or needing some fresh air. It was like that. I don't remember exactly what word it was, but she used it in a way that described her just needing some space from me, space from us in that environment. And I went up, and then from there, after I asked my mom that question, Karen came out of the bathroom. My mother handed Karen a towel to dry off with, and before drying off, Karen just wrapped the towel around her and went out the front door and left with the bathing suit on, with the towel around her. No, didn't put on no clothes, didn't, you know what I mean? Nothing. Just left. And my mom gave her a certain look as she was giving her the towel, like sarcastic look, like, here you go, you know, that kind of thing. Like, she wasn't pleased with her with how she was behaving, but she wasn't gonna argue with it, you know, just here's the towel, you know what I mean, and out you go, that kind of thing. And I looked at the singer and I asked the singer, what did Karen just do? I'm so confused by this behavior. And the singer essentially told me Karen blocked and didn't get a chance to finish her sentence. I woke up after she said the word blocked. That was the dream. But as I woke up out of that dream, I was thinking to myself, what kept playing over in my head was she was in that bathtub with that bathing suit on. And a lot of times when people, in my experience, do stuff like that, it's because they can't stand seeing themselves bare in the nude. You know what I mean? They can't stand to being themselves in the nude. Not to say that I know that Karen's like that in any way, or that she has shown me or told me that she does anything like that in any way, but it just spoke to her not quite being pleased with herself in whatever way. Now, that dream hasn't convinced me of anything other than the fact that the Lord was trying to show me something. The only reason why I'm so convinced the Lord was trying to show me something is because before I went to sleep in my meditation, I was asking the Lord to show me something. Literally. It was like, okay, and this is what I'm showing you. And so for me, it was like, you know, I took that a million different ways, but probably not in the way that you would think. For me, it was more so like, look, Karen's behavior toward me over the past couple years has confused me and kind of been a metaphoric reflection of that behavior right there. Sending me support at times, but then other times just kind of going off and doing her own thing. And she's expressed to me sometimes how she feels that way. She expressed that to me when we worked with one another, that sometimes she really cares, and other times she just wants to do her own thing. And you know, that's kind of the energy at the time. It's been many years since we worked with one another, but that behavior was not as surprising to me in real life as it was in the dream. And what I say the behavior, I mean not the specifics, but just the confusion that I felt in the dream is not a foreign feeling as it pertains to how she behaves in real life toward me. And the support that she's shown has been unwavering. The fact that she's my friend and accepts me for all the different ways that I am is proven. And I've learned to be more adaptive to that, for which I cannot wrap my head around. As I've grown to know her better, you just accept the metaphoric disappearing on you and going to do her own thing, and however that own thing looks, you may not get it, but it's fine. But when she comes back around, you're gonna have all the support in the world. It's just who she is, you know, toward me. And I didn't hate it, and I didn't think it vibed well with who I am, the consistency and the traditional whatever, how I see things in my head. But when you experience new people, you learn that some people are different in certain ways, and sometimes you're not going to get from them what you're used to getting from them, but what you're experiencing a new person. So you got to roll with what they are, who they are. A lot of times we come from certain cultures and it's like we know everybody to be this way, and this is how they love, and this is how they talk, and this is what they don't like, and this is how their sensitivity barriers are, and different things. And then you meet somebody totally different in a different way. The different ways that they do things make you feel like, if the people I've known all my life did this is what is the interpretation of their behavior. And maybe this, for which I use in quotations, is not the best way to interpret this person's behavior. You just never experienced anybody like this, and you don't know where they're coming from. But that doesn't mean that they have a whole new way of doing things that if you were to experience them, would to come to understand that this, quote unquote, is not the only way to interpret said behavior, especially when it's coming from this specific person. And that's kind of what it is. For me, it's like all the people I've known who would do something like that, I'm taking that as they're abandoning me, they don't appreciate me, and it's about me, and they want to get away from me. And maybe I'm me in a sense that I'm one of the many people they need to get away from, but more importantly, this is who they are, and maybe they don't feel like they could be themselves in anyone's presence, or maybe part of being themselves is to get away from the presence of everyone. And I can relate to that, being an introvert. I can relate to that, having my own little ways of wanting to be by myself. It doesn't mean that I hate the people I'm around or that I want to be disrespectful to them. Maybe I struggle with the fact that I'm like this and that they don't receive it well. And maybe it may irritate people that I'm like this, but that I'm accepted is the most important thing for me to continue to love myself. And this, in the process of that, and having their acceptance is very much important to me if they're my friend. My boy T, I disappear all the time, and he accepts that. And when we get back in touch with one another, we always cool. And it's like, as I've mentioned to y'all many times on this channel, if it wasn't for him being that way toward me, I would never know how to receive Karen in any other way than that, quote unquote, which would be her being disrespectful. She don't want to be in my presence. I'm frustrated with that, and this, that, and the third. My mom in the dream represented someone who had my back, in a sense, knowing that my intentions toward that person would hope for a response that was different. My mom has my back in a sense that she don't like when I'm confused, especially when I care for somebody and they're not treating me the way that I want to be treated. But that doesn't mean the way I want to be treated is what they can give me. And I took my mom giving her the towel saying, I want you to treat my son better, but maybe you can't treat him better, so just go ahead and do what you're gonna do. And then she proceeded to explain to me that she just needed a breather. She just needed a breather. If it was, Brandon, she can't stand you, or she wants away from you, or she's doing something that you should take as disrespectful, my mom would have said that, but that ain't what she said. She looked at her, kind of rolled her eyes like, here you do again, being yourself, and how this affects my son I don't appreciate, but I'm still gonna give you this towel. I'm not gonna even hold you accountable, because what's the use, but let me give you this towel, and you go and keep on doing what you're doing. Sometimes we put people in categories because we want them to want to be around us while we do what it is we want to do. I want to watch the game. Maybe she just kind of wants to sit in a bathtub with it and do her own thing. Maybe my way of receiving support is to have somebody with me doing what it is I do. But maybe me going in that room is not supporting her at all. Maybe the best way to support her is to stay out of that room and do my own thing. We all receive support differently. We all receive the treatment we want differently. And sometimes what's traditional in your world may not necessarily be what's best for the new person that you're meeting from a different world. Maybe the very way you think support is supposed to be shown is the very way they feel smothered or overwhelmed. You know, one thing I told my friend Kay as I woke up this morning, expressing the dream as I always do, I gave her the dream as I received it, and she received it well. She said I gave her a lot to think about, and I told her, I was like, I appreciate the newness of who she is, more or less. Like, I don't dislike the person that maybe wants to be different than what I'm used to. I don't find myself angry at her anymore, although I once was when I didn't understand this. But for her not being responsive to everything that I see, or maybe not being in the rhythm that I'm in regards to consistency with communication, I don't hate that about her anymore. I've learned to accept that and appreciate that it is her unique print in this world. I just asked the Lord, help me be a bit better for it. And I told her I accept her, and I love and care for who she is. Even though we're not as close as I'd like to be, who I've learned to appreciate is someone who's already proven that they have support for me as recently as 2 days ago. Throughout all the quirkiness and the activities and the different things that I've wanted and placing her in different categories, at the end of the day, she's always come back around to show me that not only does she have support for me, but appreciates that I'm this way. And I tell her I care about the person who wants to ignore me. I care about the person, not that I like being ignored, but that I understand that to be her own print, her own way of doing things. Like, that person I love too. The person who don't want to talk on the phone, I love her too. I want her to be happy. And I want to know how best to support that person, whether it be to come around or to disappear. I wanted to know that I appreciate all the different shades of who she is and all the different ways that she is, and want the Lord to help me put her in the category that best fit what it is that she can give, not what it is she can't, and then to be longing for more than what she's able. She ain't got to sit in that room with me and the singer and my mom and all of that. That's a unique world from which to be in. Maybe she needs a breather from that so that she can get in there and be herself. But the one thing that I really wanted Karen to understand is that I don't want her to be so convinced. And maybe this applied to her, maybe it didn't. I left room that it may not. But don't be so convinced that because people haven't appreciated you in the past, that there's no use in treating people correctly or treating people right. That there's no use in believing that people can love you or support you or appreciate you because of the treatment that you've received and people not understanding you in the past. Maybe somebody didn't treat her a certain way. Maybe they didn't react well to her in a certain way, and she put up a defense that would make her feel like she needs to walk away from a room that has people in it that really want to be around her. Maybe it's not just her unique print that makes her feel that way, but some other thought that makes her want to stay away from people and not feel so comfortable in her own skin in the presence of others, or even alone, as the dream would describe. Taking a bath with a bathing suit on. I don't know that she's ever done that. I don't think she's ever told me anything of that nature, but the point is I want her to be comfortable in her own skin, whether she's alone or with others. But especially alone, to love herself when she's by herself, to be at peace with her physical nature, whatever she sees in herself, to love herself for who she is and continue to better herself as she intends to do. And don't let whatever may be keep her from being at peace in her own space. Least of all, my interpretation of a dream. So I just wanted to send support to my friend, and I wanted you guys to know that I'm sending support to my friend. I may put her in a category that makes her beyond my friend, and maybe that's not right for me. Maybe that's not right for her. But I told her, my love for her is not limited to me wanting to be with her. It's an unconditional love that has been formed over time from support that has come my way when I needed it the most, and her teaching me hard lessons about how to vibe with other people as they tend to be different. To not perceive certain energies that I'm used to seeing as disrespect and as being abandoned as those things when considering this person. For she is a different entity entirely than what I've known. And I've learned that there's a third version of support, and she's providing it in these characteristics for which I'm used to being disappointed in others. but have learned to appreciate within her. An acquired taste, so to speak. And as a result of this acceptance of who she is, I've learned to discipline myself away from being frustrated and learn to be a better friend to her as she continues to learn who she wants to be toward me. And through this unconditional appreciation, I've learned that I have a real friend over there who accepts me for all of the different ways that I am, just as I accept her for all the different ways that she may be. And maybe it may be hard for her to receive me as I over obsess and send too many DMs and all these different things. And for all I know, her angels are frustrated with me for being too much for her, just as my mother was frustrated with her for not being present in that space with me. And I can tell you the truth, man. I woke up this morning feeling blessed because I still cared for my friend, even in the presence of what I perceived was being confused, because I have grown strong enough to do so. It doesn't mean that I welcome someone into my life to confuse me as a companion. Maybe it just means that I was putting her in a category that she can't stand in. That doesn't mean that I don't get to appreciate the path that my Lord has put my friend and myself on. I care about that version of her just like I care about the one that I like the most. And as we continue to grow, maybe we'll learn to understand one another better and be able to receive alternate changes in others as they come our way for which we've never seen. You know, in certain worlds away from where I'm at, I was told, and I've never experienced this in life, but I know this to be, that people will burp at the end of a good meal as a sign of appreciation. Completely alternate way of doing things. Or they throw up a middle finger as a sign of peace, as opposed to it being what it means to me. Alternate understandings of who people are and their expressions and their behaviors and what those behaviors mean. We tend to be frustrated that they don't align with what it is that we are about, but that's only because we haven't experienced them long enough to get used to that for which they are. My friend didn't abandon me. She just being herself. And if I'm gonna stand in this space that I'm supposed to be as her friend, I gotta learn to appreciate that that is what that is. And maybe help her understand how she can be received differently by those who are used to things like I'm used to. Maybe show her how to be consistent by being a bit more consistent toward her in whatever way the Lord would allow me to be. But as she accepts what it is that she accepts within me, I too owe it to myself to represent in such a way that allows me to respect what is within her. Some of y'all may say, man, that girl treating you poorly. She ain't respecting you. The dream is as simple as to say, you ain't being treated right and you doing all types of front flips and back flips, try to justify poor treatment. And the dream is telling you this chick ain't there for you and she ain't going to be. But I would only need her to be if I were putting her in a category that otherwise would make it so that those behaviors would otherwise be disrespectful to me. If I stop asking for her to be more than what she is and start appreciating what it is that she is, I won't need her to be more than what it is that she can be. That's a discipline within me. Many times we want people to change to fit who we want them to be because we won't adjust who we are to fit what it is that we should in order for them to be who they need to be in our lives. We either want them to be here being who it is that we want them to be, or we want them to go away. We only live one life. And if the Lord put someone in your life to be different, and you put them in a category they're not supposed to be in, you could end up being the one that misses out on your blessing or blocking whatever it was that I was going to actually hear in that dream. Never was heard, not because the girl didn't finish saying it, but because I woke up before she got a chance to. I initiated waking up so she couldn't finish that sentence. For all I know, she was going to say blocking her blessing, blocking that person she was speaking to, blocking anything, blocking out noise so that she could focus on whatever the situation was at hand, to focus on whatever it is that she had to focus on. I don't know what the sentence would have been, but the point was the only person who blocked anything in that conversation was me. I was blocking out the end of that sentence by waking up. Sometimes it's up to us to wake up and realize that you don't have forever. And whatever that means to seize the moment and seize the appreciation you have for the people in your life. Not demand they be different or leave their life, but be in their life for the changes they go through, so that when they get to where they're going, you can be of support. The same support that people would need to support you in the various different ways that you are. It's the same way that you would otherwise be responsible for supporting others, especially when you've prayed for them as hard as I've prayed for this particular lady. And I've been putting her in category of, oh, I want to be with her this, I want to be with her that, but maybe she ain't even into that type of energy with me. But does that mean that I don't get to experience the loved one that I have? Because she don't fit the category of what it is that makes me feel like I'm being given what I'm supposed to be given? Who is supposed, and why does that have to stand in the way of a good friend? You know, a lot of times I think culture, particularly the culture in this country, robs us out of friendships and proper paths with the people that are supposed to be in our lives. Or they don't have this, so we can't stay around. Or they ain't treating us that way, so we can't stay around. Or they don't have this amount of money, or they ain't being able to open up this door for us, so we ain't gonna be in their lives. I read somewhere, if people ain't bringing money around you, get them up out of your life. It's like, you're being robbed. That culture is robbing you of your presence in that person's life, and what that could mean for other aspects of their character, for what that can mean for other aspects of your character, for what that can mean for the moments that you're supposed to be living in. You shade out everybody in your life who can't do for you what you want done for yourself, or who can't bring you into a space from which you could receive something out of life, when you don't realize what you should be receiving out of life is just simply having them next to you at the right moment, at the right time. Or them giving you the right word because they had a dream about you. How that dream gonna be coming your way if you shut them out of your life because they ain't have a certain amount of money? How that dream gonna be interpreted properly if you're afraid to communicate with them because they weren't fitting in the category of love interest for which you put them in, not necessarily supposed to ever have been putting them in? A lot of times we rob ourselves. I don't want that person around me because they ain't got swagger. I don't want that person around me because they don't like what I like. I don't like that person around me because one random day they didn't respond to my text. Like, these are the type of things that we run with in this culture. And maybe it's the right way in some cases, but what if in certain cases it's not? You end up shutting out your blessings, or blocking your blessings, because of what culture tells you should or should not being able to think for yourself, not being able to interpret for yourself your responsibility in that person's life. We say we love people, we love them conditionally. They got to have this, we got to have that, they got to be this, they got to fit there, they got to fit there. Sometimes you just got to look past all that, understand that the enemy wants you to think those things to keep you from being there, the supportive person that you can be in a life with someone who may be different. You know, my friend told me, thank you for supporting me as I'm trying to better myself. It's nothing that makes me more proud to hear. She ain't got to sit up here and say, yo, I'm going to come see you and give you all that you want for this. She ain't got to make promises. The only thing I want for Karen is for her to feel like she's better in herself. And the last thing I wanted was my dream and my interpretation of a dream to keep her from feeling like she's on the path to getting better. Least of all, in regards to something that was as selfish to say that I didn't get your space and you weren't in my space, so therefore I want you away. Step outside of that selfishness and realize that my friend is trying to find happiness in the presence of her own peace, in her own skin. And as the dream was defined, and she was struggling doing so. Who am I to tell her, well, I'm leaving your life now because you didn't stay in the room with me, when she wasn't even happy in the room by herself? I'm proud of her for trying. As I've told her many times, And I'm proud of myself for growing stronger in the presence of dealing with you and how that is interpreted in my head traditionally versus what it is that you've shown me by being this way and not having it equal out to the things that I'm used to within those traditions. I feel like me and my friend are growing stronger, closer. I feel like if this were in real life, I wouldn't even go bother her in that bathtub. My mother wouldn't have to handle that towel because I would handle that towel. Do you understand what I'm saying? It ain't about being treated a certain way by her. It's about learning how to accept her and put her in the right category so that whatever treatment comes my way can be perceived as something I can support. That's where I've struggled. That's not what society has taught me. Either people treat you a certain way or you get them out your life. But what if people are just barely holding on and they need your support and we don't give it to them? Then what? Then it's just cool. They just go by the wayside. Whatever life they live can fall apart because of the lack of support that maybe you should have shown them if you could have just stepped outside of your own mindset. Be as unselfish enough to just accept them for the fact that maybe they don't care as much right now. And what brought them to not care right now? Maybe they've always been shown that nobody cares about them unless they do this, unless they stick around, unless they stay in spaces for which they're not comfortable. I don't want my friend to do any of that in the one life she's living. I want her to get better in the life she's living. And as a result, maybe she'll learn that through the love that I show her unconditionally, she can learn to treat me better in the life that she's living. Or at least help me understand how to receive her better as she does what she does naturally to herself. We got to inspire, I think, though. That's really what I'm saying. You got to inspire. You can't just say, I want what I want within others, and if they don't have it, I'm walking away. Or I'm challenging people to be what it is I want them to be, and if they ain't going to be that, I'm going away. You got to inspire. In order to truly see the inspired change within others, you got to prompt that within some unconditional support that you would otherwise apply. Maybe it works out for you. Maybe you get a dud of a human being in your life, and that's the worst way to go. But if someone proves to you that they have support for you without you initiating so, then they have the benefit of the doubt within you if you're of the right way of doing things toward them. You will already have kept that support in you for them, regardless of what they're showing you in a moment of weakness or in a moment that you perceive as weakness when it may not even be that. My dream showed me that my friend has a long way to go. But it also showed me that I've come a long way. Because when I woke up out of that dream, I didn't have bad things to say. I've sent my friend that dream and then proceeded to tell her why I still support her through all those feelings. If she was any of those things in that dream, yeah, my feelings might have, in theory, have been confused. My feelings may have been a little hurt at the confusion. But that's no different than what she's shown me in real life. That ain't scaring me away. That doesn't mean that I need to tell her that that I see her becoming my wife or something like that. That don't mean I have to put her in a category of you better start acting it or else. None of that is necessary. You can't see what the Lord has in store the next day. You don't know what the Lord is going to do tomorrow because of the unconditional love you provide today. And because of your willingness to step outside of your selfishness to allow people to be themselves in the presence of you, who may need so much. So that's what I wanted to say to everybody, man. That dream on its surface said, yo, this person ain't gonna treat you right, get up out of her life. But what is treat me right? If not for me putting her in a category for which she would need to do anything other than what comes naturally to her. For which the Lord didn't put her in my life to do if those are the problems and the struggles it would require. Sometimes we just gotta let people be themselves and continue to inspire within them to be themselves to the best of their ability. And as they continue to live and do the little quirky things that you can't understand, you learn to flow with the rhythm that they are and trust them to be themselves regardless. Maybe that may not apply to people who are embezzling money out of you or trying to hurt you or trying to take from you or betraying you. But in this case, none of that is happening. In this case, my friend is just being herself. And maybe I'm having a hard time grasping what that means. But as I grow to appreciate her more and she grows to appreciate me more, we can learn to respect one another. So that some of those things that would otherwise inspire betrayal would never come about. So that's pretty much what I gotta say. My name is BDF 44. I thank y'all for watching, and I'm out.